It was another huge barrage of attack drones that was sent from Russia toward Ukraine, largely to the capital, Kyiv. It was very loud and very dangerous, and it has been that way for days now. The Ukrainian air defenses essentially keeping all of those attack drones from hitting what might have been their intended targets. 138 of those drones were shot down by Ukrainian air defenses. 3 ballistic missiles also were sent by Russia toward Ukrainian territory. These are not the actions, of course, of a country that is looking at a peace possibility. That's also a question that Volodymyr Zelenskyy rhetorically asked, in a sense, Russian President Vladimir Putin. Those surely aren't the actions of someone who is interested in peace. Volodymyr Zelenskyy had a press conference here in Kyiv on the eve of the 3rd anniversary of Russia's attack on Ukraine, and he was asked whether he might be interested in a ceasefire. He's not, saying that if there is a ceasefire and it lasts 1 year, sure, but what happens after that 1 year? If Russia attacks again, then it has not been a successful ceasefire. Now, there's a reason why there are talks now about the possibility of a ceasefire and about the possibility of some kind of peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. It's because the front line essentially isn't moving much and hasn't for a long time. It's essentially stuck in the east and the southeast of the country, but Russia is outmanning and outgunning the Ukrainians, and it has been that way for long parts of this 3-year war now. And that is why I think the Ukrainian interest is getting bigger in a potential peace agreement with Russia, as unlikely as that still sounds. Zelenskyy was also today asked about whether he was willing to give up the presidency for something like NATO membership or for peace in his country.
If, to achieve peace, you really need me to give up my post, I'm ready. I can trade it for NATO if there are such conditions, but I don't want to talk about it for a long time. I am focused on Ukraine's security today, not in 20 years. I am not going to be in power for decades.
Now, the reason why that question about Zelenskyy's potential departure from the presidency came up is because that's essentially a question that has been posed by really one man only. That's US President Donald Trump, when he called Zelenskyy a dictator without elections, saying that this is a country that should be holding elections even during wartime. Well, the response from the presidency here, but also from most Ukrainians who agree with that, is you cannot hold elections during martial law. You cannot hold elections while 20% of the country is occupied by Russians, and when a relatively large percentage of the male population, but also some members of the female population, are on the front lines and literally cannot vote. That's the response from Volodymyr Zelenskyy to the potential possibility of elections being held here in Ukraine. Zelenskyy saying here again that he is more than interested in having a dialogue with US President Donald Trump. That appears to be a relationship that is not really functioning right now. He says the two have to be in touch so that they're able to talk about the possibility of peace talks that seem very unlikely right now between Russia and Ukraine. Philip Crowther for CGTN with the Associated Press in Kyiv.